Embassy in Tokyo.
The suspect is 52-year-old Mitsuyoshi Kamiya. He was led through the Tokyo airport in handcuffs on his way to face interrogation. He's accused of making a battery of phone calls threatening to bomb two specific targets. One is the U.S. Embassy in Tokyo, and the other is Camp Schwab, a U.S. military base on Okinawa. Hunting down the culprit was stepped up when the threats included killing the U.S. Consul General in Okinawa and American Ambassador to Japan, Caroline Kennedy. Kennedy is the daughter of former U.S. President John F. Kennedy and niece of Senator Robert Kennedy, who were both assassinated when she was a child. Authorities in the United States expressed alarm.
We take any threats to U.S. diplomats and U.S. diplomatic facilities very seriously. We are working and have been working for several weeks with the Japanese government on these reports, these threats.
Police tracked Kamiya down by tracing the threatening calls to a payphone in downtown Okinawa. They suspect he's an anti-American activist who's been trying to prevent the U.S. government from relocating a military base to another area of Okinawa. The bomb and death threats came 2 weeks after the U.S. ambassador to South Korea was slashed on his face and wrist by a knife-wielding anti-U.S. activist.
Former Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Fraser, who was notoriously catapulted to power by a constitutional crisis, has died at the age of 84. Fraser's office said he died peacefully early this morning after a brief illness. He became the unelected leader of Australia in 1975 when the country's Governor-General dismissed the chaotic reformist government of Prime Minister Gough Whitlam. Fraser led the country until 1983. He quit the center-right Liberal Party in disgust in 2010, following the party's election of Tony Abbott as its leader.
Locally again, the Legislative Council Secretariat has come up with measures to boost security at the council. If approved, they could be implemented as early as June or July. Liz Yoon has more details.
A series of protests at the Legislative Council last year put security firmly under the spotlight. The LegCo Secretariat has now unveiled a number of measures to try to beef up security. The first, lower shutters and gates at certain entrances if a yellow or red warning signal is in place. Among them, the car park entrance on Timei Avenue, two leading to the designated demonstration area, and another leading to the LegCo Garden. A yellow signal will be in place when a number of protesters gather outside the complex and police assistance is needed. If the situation worsens, the signal will become red. The LegCo president would then suspend all council meetings. With the yellow or red signal in place, all visitors, reporters and LegCo staff will have to go through security checks before entering the premises. Some journalists worried this would affect news gathering. The LegCo Secretariat agreed to reflect their views to the LegCo Commission. In addition, it's proposed that the outdoor security cameras be equipped with voice recorders and a cap be imposed on the number of LegCo passes for each legislator. Some lawmakers are against the suggestions.
LegCo could call the police to ask for them help, ask for them to assist the LegCo to control the situation from eroding into a bigger conflict. So I think that is good enough, forceful enough to control the situation.
But others see the need to introduce the measures to boost security. The LegCo Secretariat is expected to finish consulting lawmakers on the issue later this month. The LegCo Commission will then decide whether or not to go ahead with the improvement works. Liz Yun, TVB News.
Asking for a plastic bag is about to become something you will have to pay extra for in most stores. That's because the plastic bag levy is about to take full effect. But as our Joao da Silva explains, many are still not clear about the details.
Whether you're shopping in street stalls, markets, small shops or chain stores, in a little more than a week from now, customers will have to pay 50 cents per plastic bag in all retail businesses. Some products, however, will be exempted. For instance, the levy will not apply to plastic bags used for food hygiene reasons. These include bags used for carrying frozen food products, as well as food, drink or medicine without packaging or items not in airtight packaging. Also exempted are products pre-packaged in sealed bags, such as toilet paper, as well as bags provided for dry cleaning. This man just bought fresh meat at a local supermarket and said he's aware that such a product will be exempted from the levy because it is not prepackaged. But this woman who bought some fresh vegetables wasn't aware that what she's carrying in the bag is exempted from the surcharge. In an online survey by the World Green Organization, nearly 30% of respondents were not aware of the full range of products that will be exempted from the plastic bag levy.
I think the most practical way is to put like the poster or some kind of sign with graphics demonstration to educate the public, the shoppers, to know what should be charged, what will not be charged, in order to avoid, this kind of quarrel or disputes when selling the item.
While for now, the World Green Organization thinks the focus should be on further educating the public, at a later stage, the environmentalists believe the government should consider increasing the plastic bag levy. João da Silva, TVB News.
All right, Chris, I understand you have some cricket action for us.
I do, and the tournament continues. Co-host Australia edging out Pakistan in the Cricket World Cup quarterfinals now. Meanwhile, the other hosts, New Zealand, are getting ready for their quarterfinal clash with West Indies tomorrow. Big things are expected of Kiwi skipper Brendan McCullum. Europa League holder Sevilla produced another masterclass in football, but it was a different story for Everton. Tony Sabine reports.
Everton completed England's miserable week in Europe by getting hammered away to Dynamo Kiev in the Europa League. The Toffees were hopeful of progressing, having won the first leg 2-1, but poor defending allowed the Ukrainians to score 5 on the night, winning the tie 6-4 on aggregate. Italian giants Roma were left stunned by fellow Serie A team Fiorentina. Florentine scored 3 against the Romans in the Eternal City, giving them a 4-1 aggregate victory. Meanwhile, defending champion Sevilla moved into the last 8 after knocking out fellow Spaniards Villarreal 5-2 on aggregate. England coach Roy Hodgson was asked for his opinion on the relative poor performance of English clubs in Europe. He felt it was more bad luck than any systemic problem.
I don't think it's endemic in any way that this time we have teams that have gone out. It's just one of those things that, Man City come across a top-class Barcelona. Arsenal are fantastic in the second game against Monaco, but are unable, unfortunately, to turn around a first leg performance they weren't happy with. Chelsea, PSG, unbelievably close to 2 games. This is a fact of life. These things happen sometimes. There'll be other times when all of our teams get through.
And football's world governing body FIFA has confirmed the date of the World Cup final for the 2022 tournament in Qatar. It will be played on December 18th, which more or less means clubs, players and fans will have to adjust to the idea of a winter tournament. Tony Sabine, TVB News.
And finally, much of Europe was treated to a solar eclipse today. A solar eclipse occurs when the moon passes between the Earth and the sun, blocking the sun's rays. In Rome, gazers wore special glasses to watch the phenomenon. But there it was just a partial eclipse. In the Faroe Islands in the Norwegian Arctic, there was a full eclipse, but a cloud cover obscured the actual sight. Onlookers could only watch as the day got darker, then it brightened up again. And FYI, that was time-lapse photography. It didn't actually happen that fast. But it was still lovely. Thanks for joining us. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone.
Good night.
Research shows that people are gradually cutting their sleeping time with